Hey everyone, you've got Arleos the Blacksmith here. I know it's been a while since my last video, but by popular demand and people watching my stream on Twitch, I've decided to make a few videos for hardcore, which is what I've been playing lately. So if you are thinking about trying hardcore or just want a few tips for starting, that's what I am starting with today. So first thing I'm going to start with are a few add-ons that I think are extremely handy that you're going to want to have before you start playing hardcore. So the few that I use that I find really handy, the first one is Questy. It essentially is an add-on that helps point you to quests. It marks them on your minimap, and it marks mobs, shows completion for people in your party. Super handy. I wouldn't say it's needed, but it's definitely going to help keep you a little bit safer and make sure that you're killing the right mobs for your quest completion. It's also going to show you the level of quests, and it just helps you gather quests as you go. So I'll show that a little bit more on my higher level character in a moment. Yeah, Questy. Make sure you pick that one up. Next one I have is Deathlog. Deathlog is, I find it's a really motivating add-on. It essentially shows you deaths for anyone who has the add-on. So if you're running Deathlog, anytime somebody dies who has the add-on, it's going to show it. It also shows hotspots for zones that have mobs that kill people often. So I have mine set to not actually show any notifications for anyone below level 20, because a lot of people die a lot of the time. If you bring up the add-on itself, it shows people's last words. It shows what zone that they died in, and let's take a look at what are some handy zones. Let's look at on the map here. Looks like Westfall has a lot of red areas, so it actually shows heat maps of where people are dying, what's killing them, the classes that are dying. Super handy. So it'll help you identify some danger zones. So like caves and things like that are really dangerous places to go in. Handy add-on to have, and for me it's just, I find it gives me a little bit of extra fuel when I see people die. I say, alright, I'm definitely not going to be that guy who drowns at level 60. Yeah, and the next one I have is Auctionator. So Auctionator is going to help you in a few ways. It's going to help you make a little bit of money on the auction house, and it's also going to tell you what the vendor price of items are. So as you're out about in the world, you're going to be picking up items. Normally you have no idea the value of an item. This is going to help tell you what the vendor price of an item is, which you're going to find very helpful. Your bags are going to get full. Inventory management is a very big problem when you're starting out fresh again. So you'll know if you're throwing away something that's worth 38 copper or something that's worth 38 silver. Really important to know how much they're worth. CurseForge is where I go to download all my add-ons, so curseforge.com. And you actually do need to place them in a different folder for Classic Hardcore. So I'm going to just pull up my folder path now and put it for you guys to see. So we're looking at wherever you have your World of Warcraft game saved, and then it's a classic_ERA, and then your interface. So there's a few different options. There's classic_ERA, and then your retail. So make sure you're going to classic_ERA, and then you're looking for your interface, add-ons, and put your add-ons in that folder. You then relaunch WoW, and you can use them. So fairly simple. A few other tips. It is, when you die in hardcore, that's it. There's no resing, there's no soul stones, there's nothing. You're dead, you're dead. So you do have to play it a little bit different than retail or even classic, because dying is something very easy to do. I'll say this game wasn't meant to not die as you're leveling up, so it's certainly not the easiest feat to achieve a level 60 character. I haven't hit level 60 myself. I'm taking it quite slow. Lots of people have hit 60, so I'll say I'm a little bit slower than most. It depends on how much time you have to play. So a few things that'll help keep you alive. Keep an eye on your health. Food is going to be important, and so is first aid. So you're going to want to make sure you pick up some professions. We're looking at first aid, cooking. It'll give you your stamina buffs. It'll give you a chance to bandage in between. You're going to want to make sure that you're staying at full health, and if you're used to running away from mobs, you're going to have to really be careful with that, because as you're running, you can run into other camps. You really don't want to run through some other camps that'll aggro and end up killing you. Okay, another thing that's really dangerous will be caves. So there's a lot of dangerous caves out there, especially caves that are used for questing. When the hyper spawns get up, you can have a cave respawn on your head, and you can't run out of a cave. You start running out of caves, you're going to die. If you do find yourself in a cave and in trouble, just back up to the closest wall or wherever the spawn is that you're fighting and try to kill them on spot. That way, if something does respawn, it's going to spawn, on that spawn that you're already fighting, so it won't respawn until you at least kill that mob. and you shouldn't have to worry about pulling multiples. So just be very cautious when you're going in caves. We see a lot of deaths in caves. Another one are going to be casters, so anything that's casting at you is quite dangerous, especially in the early levels. Your things like armor really have no impact at all when you're getting cast on, and they tend to do quite a bit of damage. So just be careful you're not biting off more than you can chew with casters. Those tend to be something that that will mess you up. If you can level with a friend, I'd recommend that. I mean, World of Warcraft is always more fun with friends, so if you've got someone you're leveling with, it does make it a lot more enjoyable. That being said, you can't always play at the exact same time as your friends, so you are going to find yourself alone sometimes. What I do when I'm alone, I like to play the auction house, so I'll actually make a separate video on using the auction house and how I've made a little bit of gold, just under 400 gold on this bank character right now, which doesn't seem like a lot, but in Hardcore Classic, it's 400 gold is a good amount of gold. Your main thing that you need to make sure that you do is keep your gear up to date and have enough gold for your mount when you hit level 40. Because when you die, you're dead. I would recommend also making a bank character. So never keep more than a few gold on your main for things like training. I always mail my gold away to my alt. I tend to not go over 50 or 60 gold on my main, just to make sure that if I do die, then I've got a backup stash on my alt. So you can, if you're restarting again, you can buy things like bags and gear. It's always nice starting off with bags. If you're starting out fresh, having no bags or anything, it does get a little bit slow, but I promise you it gets better. So give it a chance. If you're finding it hard to make it to level 20, I'll say it's pretty hard until you get your abilities, like before level 10, before level 20, and your characters start to really fall into their abilities. It is quite difficult, so don't be too discouraged if you're dying, but it is frustrating, and it is the sense of loss if you've put 20, 30, 40 hours into a character and then it dies and it's dead. You know, it can be sad. We've had a few people die in the guild, and you know, you need a few minutes to recover before you're making another character. So give it a try, see if you like it. Again, if you're dead, you're dead. There's really no coming back from that. But it is a lot of fun. I'll say it feels like a different game when you're playing. So if you want to give it a try, do it. There are only 2 servers to play on, so there is a fairly healthy population, I'll say, on all the servers. Things like finding groups, you can only run dungeons once a day. So it can be a little bit more challenging to find a dungeon group, just because people are a little bit more picky with their compositions, and you know, they don't want to pick somebody that's going to end up wiping the group and killing their characters. Let's take a look at Questy. So this is a super low level character, so as you can see, it's only showing quests that I'm eligible for, and quests that I already have in my inventory, or in my log, sorry. So taking a look outside of Ironforge, there's all these little bags. I'm looking for Cragboar Ribs, happens to be one of the quests that I have, and it's going to show locations on your map for any of the creatures that can drop that. When you're actually out in the world, if you were to click on a Cragboar, it'll show that it's in a mob that can drop the quest item you're looking for. It'll also show the location of any quests, and if you hold shift while you're hovering over the quest, it'll kind of give you the name of the person and a brief description of what they want to do and what the rewards are. As you get higher level, the reps that are showing here don't always adjust properly, so it might show more rep than you actually get when the quest turns gray. I'd recommend staying within your green quests. You can go all over the world doing green quests, a lot less chance you can die. And you're going to want to stay away from escorts. Most of the escorts when you're solo are very difficult. I've seen quite a few people die on escorts, so be super cautious when you're starting an escort. You can let your escort NPC die. They will respawn. You will not. So if you have to abandon an escort and just book it, do that, because if you're dead, you're dead. So this will show you again where all the quests are as you get to new zones. So, you know, I haven't even seen this side of the world yet, but you can see in Teldrassil all the different quests, what level they are, and again, a brief description of what they do. It's not going to show you how to get to them. If you don't know how to get to Teldrassil, then that's a problem on its own, but it'll at least keep you in the loop of where the quests are that are relevant to you in any cities that you can see and haven't even been to. So I'm Alliance, obviously. I've got level 5 character. If you do make a bank character, I'd recommend at least making it level 5 so that you can get a few basic professions. Enchanting is a really huge profession for a bank alt to have. You can send the greens to your bank alt to either sell or disenchant if they are more worthwhile to disenchant. And you can store your enchanting materials on the auction house for free. There is no deposit for enchanting materials, so even if you don't want to sell them, you can put them maybe higher than what the price is going for right now. If they do sell, then you'll be happy, and if they don't sell, it's a free place to store your enchanting materials. Like I've got some 12 slot and 10 slot bags right here. That's just because I've been playing for a little bit already. It is going to take you a minute or two to get a few bags, so be patient. They do come. Next one we have is Auctionator. So again, Auctionator, if you're not into the auction house, the main thing you're going to use it for is telling you the vendor price of items. And in order to get a baseline of what the auction house price for items are, you're going to go to an Auctionator, click on your Auctionator tab, and click on Full Scan. It's going to do a scan of the auction house, and it's going to update whatever the prices are. Caution, if you do a scan at a neutral auction house, it really throws these off because of the price differences there. So I'd recommend only scanning your regular home auction house, not the neutral auction house. Seems to be freezing here a moment for me. There we go. So it's done a scan of the auction house, and it's now going to update what the AH prices are for my items. It doesn't always show. We've got like items of the bear, of the boar, of the eagle. It doesn't do a very good job at updating each of these different types for the auction price. So you're going to want to keep an eye out for items, maybe not so much at lower levels, but once you get to 30, 40, 50, 60, things like of the eagle, of the bear, things that have stats that are important to people. So eagle plate gear, for example, is really important for paladins. You've got int and stam. Stam is an important stat for hardcore. You're going to have more hit points. It's going to help you not die. But your stats that make you do more damage, you'll find a lot of casters are stacking your plus frost, plus fire, plus arcane damage to make sure that they're able to kill things quicker. So there's going to be a balance between either how fast you're killing things and then how long you can survive for. As a caster, obviously, if you can kill things before they get to you, then your hit points really don't matter. If you're something like a tank or maybe a paladin that needs to take a few more hits, then stamina will be a little bit more important to you. Armor is obviously helpful to those classes as well. It reduces your physical damage taken, and that's where things like casters get dangerous, because you don't have to wait for them to run to you. You don't have that time to kill them before they get to you as a caster, and your armor does nothing against a caster. So be wary of casters early on. Yeah, and that's really the main 3 add-ons. You should be able to get started just fine with that. Again, you'll know what things vendor for, so you can prioritize your bags when you need to destroy something to pick up a new piece of loot, or to even know if it's worth picking up. You will quickly get some 6-slot bags. People tend to be selling them for vendor price right now because as they upgrade their bags, they really don't have anything to do with them. People are pretty kind when it comes to new people starting out. So I wouldn't recommend begging. It doesn't work for me if people ask for things, but if I see people that need them, then I often help people out, or I'll just be getting rid of things for the vendor price, especially the low 6-slot bags. You really don't need them anymore once you pass up to 8 or 10 slots. All right, so that's what I've got for Intro to Hardcore. Hope you guys give it a try, and we will see you out here. All right, we'll catch you next time.